Sound check. You guys hear me?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, happy Friday, everybody. I have, we have our lender, Brian, going to talk to us for a moment, give us an update of the roller coaster that is the mortgage market.
Yes.
You want to just take a moment, Brian, from Cornerstone first. I'll turn it to you now, Brian, for a moment.
Okay, great. So obviously rates are going to always move, and we know that. But this week on Sunday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, or Jay Powell, spoke on 60 Minutes, and this was after the Fed meeting last Tuesday and Wednesday. So last Fed meeting, the minutes come out after the meeting, and they always give their blurbs and their findings. They're going to say economic activity is expanding, what they expect. Job gains have moderated, but they're still strong. Unemployment has remained low. They still keep reiterating this goal of an inflation of 2%. So they're still cautious of this 2%. So, which was fine. Markets reacted normally to that. But what really did it was the 60-minute interview on Sunday, because he said that the first rate cut could be or may be in June, which sort of squashed the anticipation that the rates were going to be cut in the next meeting in March. So that triggered a big knee-jerk reaction as far as with the bond market. So rates ticked up a little bit. There was an analyst or there was had baked in an 80% chance that the rates would have been cut in the next meeting in March. So now that's being pushed to theoretically till June, which spooked the markets a little bit. So what happened there is bond prices went down and yields went up. However, rates are still lower than they were several months ago. So these news blurbs sort of scare and spook the consumer. When you're hearing these blurbs, be careful of what they're saying and try to delve further into what they're saying. Things like rates spiked or rates skyrocketed. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're the highest ever. They could be still lower than where they were several months ago, which is actually the fact. So it's still a great time to buy.
Brian, for us non-mortgage people or non-finance people, can you
getting too technical?
Can you explain the relationship between mortgage rates and the bond market?
Right. Okay. So when prices of bonds go up, yields go down, and vice versa. So this is just there's always going to be an inverse relationship with that. So
right. As
traders are selling.
So basically, Brian, is the price of the bonds, I think we're losing us here, but basically as interest rates on the treasuries or the government influence goes up, it influences mortgage rates. And I think what we've discovered with Powell was it was a little bit of a head fake, because the market was expecting a March cut and now it might be moved out to May or June. So the anticipation of what's coming is what has a lot to do with where the rates are. And the good news is a 30-year fixed with a 760 FICO. What is that looking like now, roughly?
You're probably looking 6 5/8, 6.75. Pricing isn't really out yet because there was some news that came out this morning. The CPI, the inflation numbers for the past year were revised, which helped the bond market.
I lost you there. Can you hear me?
Yeah. And do you have any relatable stories or successes that you've done for our agents to help them out?
I do actually have a success story that I wanted to talk about. I spoke with an agent last week. Actually, maybe it was a week and a half ago, but they put me in touch with a buyer that they were working with that came to them already with a pre-approval. Pre-approval was about a year old, but they were in contact with another loan officer, and that agent wanted them to talk to me to get a second opinion, which was a smart move. So I reviewed the borrower's income situation, and me being in my 20 years of experience and Cornerstone First Mortgage having an excellent underwriting department and a contact person that I can reach out to day or night. We put our heads together and we were able to recalculate the borrower's income differently, which actually allowed me to qualify the borrower for almost $100,000 more in purchase price, which was amazing because now that expanded the search criteria for the real estate agent and allowed them to show properties that are more suitable for that borrower. We went from a purchase price of $379 to about $470. So it really made a difference. And I want to urge you guys, if you're dealing with a borrower that came to you with a pre-approval with a loan officer that you don't know, stress the importance of getting a second opinion with us. You know, something like that could make the world of difference, and it could mean the difference of a sale or not a sale. So obviously we want to sell as much as we can here. So a second opinion is not the end of the world. You know, the worst case scenario is just going to confirm the same numbers, but it's worth a shot.
Brian, I just want to mention, like, this is significant because, I'm a spreadsheet stat guru here. I'd love to, consume that data. And the last few weeks, probably as I'm preparing, I keep coming across this statistic that homeowners are 40 times wealthier than renters. 40 times, not 4, not 2. 40 times wealthier than renters, and it's because over time that forced savings and appreciation is massive. And I don't know if we have Michael Gopi or anyone from his team on yet. Michael, are you on? All right, so I was touched by a story from this gentleman and his team, and if you could maybe unmute yourself, Michael, and just share with me what you talked about at your team meeting.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I just want to say 80% of success is showing up. So I want to highlight my team. Like, they show up every morning, and I really appreciate them. So the success I just wanted to share with the team. We had a renter. Her name is Randy. Wanted $3,100 rental. So I brought her into the office. And the easy way is to just send her a list of rentals and, get $1,550 commission. But no, I wanted to do the right thing. I profiled her. So we brought her in and we identified while profiling her that she rented for 10 years. So 2,500 times 10 years is about 300,000 she spent in rent. So I told her the rental she wanted, 3,100. That's about 37,000 for the year. Has she considered buying? Because she could put that towards our house. She's like, I cannot qualify. There's absolutely no way. So I called Frank, who's truly a superstar, loan officer, Frank Del Pesci from Mata Mortgage. We were on the phone with her. And I'll never forget this. It was Thanksgiving night. Frank was working on her file. And I've never seen a lender on Thanksgiving work with a client. So he was able to get her approved. And I really appreciate that. And the reason why I wanted to highlight you, Rob, is because while profiling her, she had a listing that her mom had just passed away. And this listing that I had, there was 36 other properties in there. And it was really hard to sell because it's 36 properties, 900 HOA. So I listened to your mastermind call and you gave me a really, really good tip. Instead of lowering the price, to do an incentive. So that's what we did. We offered an incentive, 1 year of association dues, and we're able to sell her property because of that. We separated us from the competition. So your calls actually are, and our team appreciate it. You give really good tips. So
Michael, can you explain the property was being offered in what, the high twos?
Yeah, so it was $299. It was a condo, $299. It's in Platina. So these mastermind calls, I hear from a lot of good agents on here, and the way to perfect your craft is you always have to be a student of the business. So you gave me an amazing idea. Instead of lowering the price, doing a price reduction to sell that property, I offered that incentive. 36 other listings in there. And the only way to get the sale with Frank for the purchase, because she needed those funds from this listing to put down on the sale, was to get that condo sold. So I put that incentive, didn't lower the price. Literally, like in 2 days, I had it under contract. It was amazing.
Fantastic. And now your team is on fire as well, right? You have 4 or 5 transactions in the past month from
Yeah,
the new team members.
yeah. My team. So the thing is, we want to meet everybody. We convert so many rentals to sales. I mean, that's my favorite. I love dealing with renters. Because we're able to educate them and create a plan for them. But my team, I mean, they just show up. They just show up ready to work. I mean, I've never met a group of agents that are so ambitious, ready. I mean, every single day they come in. So,
So,
and the results are showing because they're showing up, they're listening to your calls, and they're being students of the business. So watch out the other team leaders. The GoP group's gonna be #1.
so Michael, just in case anybody's a guest here, how many Remaxes have you been with in your career?
I've been with 3 different Remaxes. It's not that I left to go to different ones, they just kept getting bought over. So 7 years, there was 3 different broker transitions. So I would truly say, Rob, though you're a shining star. I mean, I've never met anybody like you. I don't think any real estate company, Century 21, Keller Williams, any company has somebody like you leading the company. So, I mean, the support that you have is phenomenal. The time that you take to,
That's going to cost me a lot of money, but I appreciate it. And Michael also, when I met in his team meeting, they saved somebody's house from a foreclosure. And how much money did you net the woman in that scenario, Michael?
we netted her about 200,000. She was just gonna let the house go. And we were able to educate her. I was able to sit down with her. Well, the whole story, and I'll be really quick. It started from Tony wearing his name tag at Wawa, the gas station, and because he wore his name tag, the client goes, "Oh, you work at Remax?" And it was like it was perfect because she saw he worked there, and we built a relationship with her just from his name tag. And then
And for the record, I called him out to put the name tag on. So it's like in hockey, I get an assist on that one, right?
yeah, you did. You got another assist right there. You got a triple double.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think I hope that can inspire some people who are spending their Fridays on the call with us. All right.
Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna turn it over here. Okay. To today's topic. Give me a second. So, structure your business for consistent success and growth. Might sound like cliche, but it's really not. And I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts. And, a lot of these themes are overlap from different sessions that we have. But if you can find ways like the GoPi team or others to use gratitude to anchor yourself to your mission, and if you couldn't tell, Michael and his team really love what they do. They love helping people and they enjoy the process. When you focus on the significance of your craft, okay, and your moral obligation to serve, you will enjoy the process, maximize your success, find abundant success and financial reward. Okay, those are all things that I think they're inseparable. I've never seen somebody truly successful in this business that didn't get satisfaction from helping people. Most of the people who are chasing dollars are burn out of the business quickly. Okay. And there's a quote that a lot of my peers and myself, live by, which is you can have everything in life that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. Okay, that's very deep if you really think about it, because the act of helping others does provide financial reward. Even if you don't have any expectation of compensation, it finds you. It's a leap of faith. It's totally true. And, if you can hear it more times, it will become more embedded into your subconscious mind. Now that we talked about like the motivation piece, these are some of my thoughts on the most successful teams. Business is math. And I know a lot of us that get into this business, math's maybe not our strongest subject, but prospecting, investing, marketing, all of these components of our business, all relate around math. Knowing your addressable market, knowing your market share. I don't know, is Mike Luzzi or Giuseppe on? I don't know if either of you made it today.
I'm on, Rob.
So, Mike Luzzi's been in the business for several years. And, he spent probably an hour and a half with me this week, looking at, targeting his market. And what we did was we looked at the addressable market. We looked at the historical sales. We decided on what type of a market share we wanted. We decided what type of an investment we were going to put through. And then we can determine, what our return on investment is. I know you lived there for how many years, Michael?
26 years.
Right. And you probably had a really good idea what was going on, but I don't think you knew as granular as you did after we kind of, sliced and diced the numbers. Is that fair to say, or do you think you did?
No, definitely. It was a big help, Rob, and I thank you for your time as always. But there's ways to go about doing, you can't always do things the same way. Sometimes you got to change a little. And that's what we're in the process of doing now, changing the way we're going to market in here. And because there's business to be had. And like I said to you, it's frustrating when you don't get it, but.
And Michael, what was it about, like $200 or less a month to do a monthly mailing there?
Yeah, I think you said it was about actually it was $163 to do.
So $160 some dollars to mail to every address in his farm. There were 300 and how many units? 308.
Well, we overlapped one of the communities, which isn't a big deal, but in Timber Creek here where we are, it's 311 homes. So it probably been less than that. So,
So just to give you an idea about the math, and Michael, thank you for sharing, but there was 390 pieces of mail going out. It was costing him $165. There's 311 units in his complex. Now, if he gets anything from the other 80 that overlapped, that's gravy. But there was 8 sales in the past 12 months, and in the prior 2 years, so 2 and 3 years ago, it was averaging 16. So if we took a number of 10 sales and we did that marketing and we wanted to get 25% of the transactions there, that's 5 units, and the average sales price $750.
Oh, I would say higher. I would say between 8 and $1 million.
Okay, so let's just say 800,000. And what's the average commission side there? 2.5 or 3?
It's probably 2.5.
Okay, so that's $20,000 per transaction side, and if there's 20 sides and you want it 5, that's $100,000 on a $165 a month times 12. It's a $2,000 investment, and we could potentially get $100,000 return. Does require effort. I commend you and Renee for door knocking and making yourself seen, but that's the math side to this. And very few agents, I don't know, Michael, if you've ever gone that granular before in your 27 years.
What's that, Rob?
Did you ever digest the numbers that granular in your 27 years?
No, but we always were on top of things on what the sales were and what it could mean. And like I said, especially in this market today, it's all over, just not here, where prices have gone up drastically. There's a lot of money out there to be had, and you really have to go after it. And but that really opened my eyes to the potential that's out there. I mean, all over. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing with the rest of the group. So unfortunately or fortunately, business is math. We need to understand things like the total addressable market, how many sales are happening in your marketplace that you want to define as your area, what's the market share you want to get. you know, Michael and I also looked at who, if there's any dominant agent that was in that area, which there wasn't. You know, if you're looking to adopt a farm and there's a dominant agent, you might want to look somewhere else where it's a little bit easier. Okay, I'm not saying I don't enjoy a fight, but if it's lower hanging fruit, you might want to at least know that before you get into it. Okay, number 2, does anybody know what PPP is? That's the old payroll protection plan, but who knows what PPP is? Anybody? All right, 5
Proper.
P.
Is it for prospect?
No.
Oh, good.
Prior preparation equals performance.
You're getting close. So, proper preparation prevents poor performance. How's that? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And there's so many ways that that's relevant in our business. Okay, it's from, you know, looking at in November, October, December, figuring out what your plan is for the next 12 months, all the way up to, you know, before you make your phone calls for the day to preparing for a listing opportunity, relevant across the board. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Okay, it's huge. So failing to plan is planning to fail. That's the old cliche, right? And we need to have a very detailed plan if we're going to succeed. Okay, and that includes structure. The 5 Ps, I'll call it now. That is also extremely relevant to, you don't want to practice on your paycheck, all these Ps. You should be, you know, role playing, you know, absorbing the language and the way that you're going to speak. And I've enjoyed preparing today so much for this that my next mastermind, which I rarely announce a week ahead of time, is going to be the power phrases and words for real estate. Okay, it's going to be the power phrases and words for real estate. And I'm going to give a big shout out to Eric Pruitt for kind of putting this top of mind. Eric, are you on? Maybe he's probably taking a listing. But anyway, I kind of custom designed some objection handlers for him last evening and sent it to him this morning. You know, like some of the things, just to give you a little bit of a teaser, are, you know, words like, you know, let me help you navigate the process, or let me help you understand the cost of waiting. You know, one of my favorite phrases is going to be, if we decide to work together, what would that look like? Now, if I asked anybody, if we decided to work together, what would that look like? They're going to have some opinion of what that looks like. And that's putting us one step closer to actually working together with somebody, right? So that's a teaser for next week. Run your business like a business. Mr. Del Pash, actually, who's somewhere where they can talk without background noise? Anybody?
I am Rob.
Okay, so Glenn, if you have a business, right, and you hire employees, you know, what do you normally expect them to do?
Show up.
Show up. And then do they have like tasks that they're charged to do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So they have a very thorough job description. Okay, and there would also be a negotiated pay scale, right? You wouldn't hire somebody to be an admin or to be your CFO and decide what you're going to pay them later, would you, Glenn? So that's
No.
that's a definite you wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
So-
definitely not.
So in our business, you know, what we fail to realize is when we run our business like a business, we want to focus on the things that are going to give us the ability to influence outcomes, right? To help people. And there are leading indicators that help us do that. And the income producing activities, you know, there might be one or two, you might be able to rewrite them a little bit, but these are basically them. talking to people, whether it's on the phone, out at a networking event, knocking on a door, going to check out at Wawa, whatever it is, you need to talk to people. Okay, the second step is you need to set appointments. Okay, without appointments, nothing happens. The third step is we need to go on the appointments. Okay, we need to prepare. We need to know exactly what we're going to say. We need to be on time so we're not flustered, and we need to have value. And then we write offers and negotiate contracts, write listings, negotiate contracts. This, my friends, is the income producing activities that we need to focus on. What do you think most people focus on? I think a lot of people, they go to the office, they open their email, they check their social media, they swat a few flies, solve a few problems, pat themselves on the back. And the thing that usually gets neglected is the income producing activities in many cases. So I would defend my income producing activities by time blocking. Coach Ron, are you here?
I'm here right below you.
What are your comments on this? You've been helping people for a long time and successful.
Well, I talk until I'm blue in the face about appointments, scheduling, time blocking, mindset, management of your time. We try to do at least 2 hours of prospecting in a day. Morning is the best time to do it. And then later on, do the other activities that are productive. Okay, that's not going on doctor's appointments. That's not going to pick up the kids. Productive activities. And we talk about it a lot on my classes on Tuesdays. So a lot of agents are starting to schedule, starting to use their time management. And it's very important to be productive and to get appointments.
So Ron, one of my colleagues that I was talking with, he put on his team, he used a program where it actually tracked all the activities, and it wasn't a self-reporting. It reported how many calls, how many connections, how many text messages, how many emails, and just what's your gut? Do you think people think they're doing more than they're doing, or you think they're doing more than they think?
I think they're doing more than they think.
Nope. Everybody was saying, "Oh, I think I made 100 calls. I think I spoke to 20 people." When you looked at the data, it was like a third to two-thirds of what they thought they did when you tracked it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I had it reversed. Yes.
Yes. So people feel that they're doing more than they're actually doing if they don't track it and they don't have a scoreboard, they don't measure. Don't want to get above, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but the second point I had here was leverage. Okay. What is a good administrator worth or cost you in your market, Ron, if you were to hire somebody that was highly talented to do some of the administrative tasks in the real estate business? Could you hire somebody good for $18, $22 an hour in your market?
No,
What's the cost?
it'd have to be at least $25 or $30 an hour. I mean, it
Okay.
depends how good they are. I mean, you got to give them a shot, see how it goes. And if they do the things that you want them to do, then you can always raise them. But $18 is a little low. You won't get quality.
Okay, so $25 an hour in your marketplace. What's your time worth?
My time,
Yeah,
200.
200 an hour. And then I'll bet you when you're doing your prospecting, is it worth more than 200 an hour?
Oh yeah, yes, sir.
So we found that, when you do your prospecting time, it's probably between $400 and $1,200 an hour when you're prospecting as far as income generation. So if you utilize leverage and you delegate what you can do, okay, that's going to give you the ability to be more consistent with your income producing activities. The second way to leverage yourself is to embrace technology or use technology, because you can get a lot more done when you embrace technology. If you spend the time to learn it you'll get dividends for a longer period of time. Next step is accountability. Okay, in a business, and I'm going to go back to Glenn, if you could talk in a business. Do you think there are many businesses, Glenn, if you could talk, that don't operate off a budget and they just, spend money, whatever comes in and whatever shiny object, they write checks? Or do they have a financial budget?
If you don't have a budget, you're going to be dead soon, right?
Yeah, you're going to be dead quickly. And do they do reviews of employees and investments? Right? Are they constantly
Absolutely.
measuring results?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like lead source management, right? How much are you spending per lead and how much is that agent converting it? Yep.
Yeah, and there's a principle in accounting, which is what my education's in, is that things need to be timely so that you can take action. Because if I told you that the first quarter of 23, Glenn, you lost $40,000 on your internet marketing, you'd be like, well, why are you telling me that now? I did that three quarters afterwards. So you need to measure it and have it be timely. Okay. And then when you do these things, you become accountable to the result. You get bought into the system. Okay. So I think everybody would think it's ridiculous for a business not to have a budget. I mean, how would they know how much rent and how many people they can hire? But how many of us as solo entrepreneurs or team leaders don't have a serious financial budget, and we don't measure it and hold the budget accountable for results and making changes? Because if you don't change the course as necessary, it doesn't make any difference. If you budget and you manage, but you don't change, you're going to lose that 40,000 the second, third, and fourth quarter if you don't make any changes. So I just want to put that out there so that we are all business owners. Okay, we all make a decision every morning on how we're going to spend our time. If you win the morning, you can win the day and have your schedule and have certainty to what goes on. Okay. The best people in the business, the most sustainable, when a deal dies, they're not fazed by it. As long as they knew it went through the process and it wasn't something that they caused to die. And even if it was something that they made a mistake on, if they're learning from it, they're not upset with it. They're like, all right, I just got an education on what not to do in that scenario. But if you have a business and you're doing all the activities, there are going to be some transactions that fall apart. You go home at the end of the day and it doesn't faze you one bit. The agent that doesn't have a system goes home and kicks the dog because they're upset. Okay. And then the fourth part is to invest in yourself. Okay. You are the value. I mean, there's no team leader, team member, office manager in this business that doesn't revolve around you. Okay. And, if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be of the right mindset to be able to perform. If you don't take control of your mind and focus on what you can change and how you can impact your business and impact others, you won't be at peak effectiveness. If you don't commit to improving your skills, okay, to be the best possible, okay, you're not helping as many people as you can, and you're never going to get back the time that you lost. Okay. If you immerse yourself in learning, whether it's books, reports, podcasts, YouTube, this event, being around peers, seminars and conferences, many of us old timers in the business, we learn from being in an office and hearing what other people said. We learn from being in an office and seeing what other people did, right? That was the core of how we learned. I think now a lot of our learning is moved to, let me listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube, right? And sometimes you get overwhelmed because one person says to do this, the other person says the exact opposite, and it works. But I'm looking at you, Ron. You've been around a while. Did you learn a lot from your peers when you started, and how valuable was that?
Well, in the beginning, because we didn't have all the internet's classes and coaches, but we had to actually go to see a coach. But as time went on, yeah, the internet really helped. But I learned a lot from when I was with Colleen and Coldwell Banker and then ERA. I learned a lot from the other agents that were around. I saw what they were putting on the board, all their listings. I want to be like that. So what I did is I took a few of them out to lunch twice, 3 times a week and picked their brain. And I learned a lot from that. And now as time goes on, we do have the internet, we have YouTube. But if you can get training like, the training that you hired me to do is free to all our agents. And listen, if you pick up 1 or 2 ideas here and there from each coach and each trainer, that's how you're going to learn. I mean, you make it your own style. I learned from Mike Ferry, I learned from Tom Ferry, I learned from Brian Buffini, Floyd Wickman, took all that information, Craig Proctor's. I learned all those got all that information, and I picked out what I could use to make my business and make it personal to how I want to structure my business.
I mean, it's, success leaves clues, and, we have so much talent around us. Like, I feel like I can solve any problem from any one of you, not because I'm the smartest person in the room, because I'm definitely not, but because I know who I can tap into, who has, done certain things at higher levels, and, we just get there so much faster by collaborating and sharing our ideas. Okay. If you take this to heart, and I apologize for keep repeating stuff, but it becomes second nature when you continually hear it. We all have a moral obligation, not only to our families and ourselves, but in my opinion, we have a moral obligation to help as many people as we can, especially those who entrust us with their decision to buy, sell, rent, whatever their financial real estate need is. We have a moral obligation to help them, to help as many people as we can in the time that we choose to work. Okay. So when we take that mindset, we adopt that mindset, it really changes the way that we think about our career and, how we work. It's not just a paycheck. It's about people. It's not about leads. It's about families, right? If I say to, by the way, Juliana, welcome back. So Juliana, if I say to you, go call some leads, does that motivate you?
Yeah.
Leads seem to be like, they don't seem to be human. But if I say, hey, why don't you call and help some families buy houses and change their lives, it just has a different level of impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll bet you remember some of the best transactions that you did, but you probably don't remember how much you got paid, do you?
No.
And that's the beauty of this business. Well, thank you for sharing that, and welcome back.
Thank you.
So you seldom remember, and clients seldom remember what commission rate they paid when you sold their house, right? Maritza, how you doing? So Maritza, do you think clients remember whether they
Happy
paid?
Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Do you think clients remember if they paid, 4.5%, 5.5%, or 6.5% commission, or you think they really remember if the experience was good, if you called them back, if the transaction was flawless? What do you think they really remember?
They really remember how you treated them, how the transaction went, if it was less stressful for them, or everything you did in the transaction. That's what they remember, and that's why they continue coming back to you. You have repeat customers when they have a smooth sailing, like they say.
And Joelle, are you somewhere where you can talk? Joelle, how are you? You're on mute.
Hi.
So Joelle, do you think clients 2 years later remember if they got 6.25% or 6.75%, or you think they remember if you called them back and they closed on time? What do you think they really remember?
Oh, they remember how they closed and the personal touch that they had with you. Now they don't remember the rate. They just remember the experience.
Yep. So I want everybody to, internalize the fact that people remember the experience. The cost has to be fair, has to be reasonable, but they don't remember the precise cost. Most people don't remember what the commission rate was when they go to closing. They have to look at the paperwork. Okay, but they do remember the experience. They do remember if you called them back. They do remember if you did what you say you're going to do. You know, what do you think the biggest complaints, and Colleen, you're upside down. What do you think the biggest complaints are, Colleen, in the business? So, so I think the biggest complaints that our industry gets are that we don't call people back. You know, we have a black eye for communication.
You don't get a left person.
Not anybody can survive in this business without doing that.
Right? And we don't call back, and we don't follow up when we say we're gonna do. Okay? You know, sometimes we might be afraid to over follow up. But if you call somebody back and say, hey, Karma, I'm following up like I said I would. I just wanted to see how, you know, where you're at. Right? Nobody wants somebody that's not going to be aggressive. Nobody wants an agent that's not going to be aggressive, because this is a very, very competitive market. Nobody wants somebody that is not investing in improving their skill set. Okay, you know, that's, to me, that's malpractice.
Can I
Right?
say something also, Barb? When
Absolutely.
you respect people, when you follow up with people, you are respecting yourself first before them.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't respect yourself, and if you don't believe in yourself, Karma, how can you expect somebody to believe in you and buy into, you know, us? Because that's what they're buying into. They're buying into us.
Yes.
Okay, so that's another saying I used to use a lot with the newer agents, and I say, hey, if you go on an appointment and you don't have confidence in yourself, it's always unanimous, because nobody's going to believe you if you don't believe in yourself.
Of course.
I feel like not enough agents invest the money and the time when they have a great client in front of them. They are too often thinking about the transaction and the next commission, when I think how much is it worth to me to spend quality time taking this family out like this, you know, tomorrow night in the East Coast. I'll be with a great client of mine. We've done 3 transactions, and they're talking about selling their home and buying another home. To me, if I spend X amount of dollars on them for dinner, it's money well spent, because it's going to come right back to me 10X or 20, 30X, whatever it is. But it's, I feel like people just don't do what it takes, and they make excuses, but there's a lot of opportunity right in front of them. If they just spend the money and the time with great clients in front of them, those clients are going to just come back and refer and refer and refer.
Has anybody on this call had done a good job, provide excellent service, and got at least two more transactions from it?
Well, yeah. Of course. You know, I think the Remax agents, you know, are a little bit, they have higher standards than some of the other companies out there. So I think most of the Remax people take good care of their clients and they're successful. That's why a lot of people stay with Remax, because it's a top of the line company.
So is it, you know, I've heard stories of, you know, one client leading into 5, 10, 30 transactions, if you really think about it. You know, sometimes somebody will refer you to somebody who will, that person will refer you, and it's a pinwheel, it's a spiral, it's, you know, respect for a job well done. And those are the easiest transactions to work. I remember one time up in our office in Closter, you know, Rebecca, you know, the broker, my partner up there, she had done a mastermind where she talked about, you know, 1 or 2 clients and how many transactions you can get from those over time if you follow up. And it was astronomical. It was several $100,000 from one transaction. Okay. And, you know, Tom Toole, who I've been watching out of Mainline, Pennsylvania, he did a little catchy YouTube clip, said, you know, what's the best closing gift? Does anybody have a preferred closing gift that you like to give out?
We give out gift cards.
Gift cards?
I
Anybody else?
customize it for every client. I get to
Yep.
know the family and see how I can affect each one of them. They have dogs, they have children. I'll think about what each of them can enjoy, and then send them each something also to follow up on each of their birthdays. But definitely custom per each client.
All right,
Yes,
let's get a third one before I give you Tom's pick. Anybody else? Mr. Garver, you got anything there?
Well, when I used to do relocation business and there were, someone was moving to town from out of town, I would arrange for the owner of the best local restaurant to call them up and introduce himself to them and invite them to come have dinner at the restaurant that I picked up the tab for. And that has come back as a charm for me so many times that it really works well when people are not familiar with the neighborhood that they're moving to.
Fantastic.
And Rob,
I've done that also with
tech-
restaurant gift cards to for new clients that are just moving into an area or new area rather, and give them one of the nicest restaurants in towns with a gift card, and they enjoy that.
Thanks, Mickey.
And Rob, I actually not the gift, but the technique. I never, ever, ever give it at the closing table. 30 days later.
Yeah. Colleen had one where she had a cutting board with your name on it. So every time they took out their cutting board, your name would be on it. So something like that I thought was a great idea. That's a good gift.
Glenn, I think that's something to remind everybody. It's such a good idea. For me, I don't do it necessarily 30 days. It could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but to do it after and stop by their home, knock on their door and give it to them in person. That is another touch, and that's huge.
That's a good one.
All right.
Yeah, and it's just a reason because everything ends so abruptly, right? And and I also send them texts that say, we used to talk every day. I miss you. A couple days after,
I love that.
Rob, good morning. It's Denise. I've had several of your agents in the New Jersey area utilize the home warranty program as a gift for the buyers.
It's a great gift.
Fantastic. Expensive, but a worthwhile gift, as I know. Here's what Tom's was, which was really interesting. He said the best closing gift is a job well done, and he doesn't give any gifts. All right, there's a mic drop moment. And he said, what other profession do you go to? And at the end of the transaction, you get a gift. If you get open heart surgery and it's successful, does the doctor come by and give you a gift? Does the lawyer come by and say, we just won our big case and here's a gift for you?
No, I hear this. I've heard that a number of times. But do these professions get invited to their kids' weddings, to their bar and bar mitzvahs, to their kinseys? Because I've gotten invited to many of my clients' special dates. So by us investing a little bit of our profits back into our clients and showing them how much we care for the business they give us, an opportunity given, we set ourselves apart from all those other services.
So look, there's many different ways to be successful, David. And what Tom said he does in his practice is he gives out a gift for referral business instead of for closing.
I constantly send gifts to my referral partners throughout the year to stay top of mind and to just say thank you. Sometimes it's small little things, but for example, yesterday, Amazon cards and Starbucks cards went out to over 100 referral partners. They were not large amounts, but they're small little thank yous. And what I noticed is that maybe half of those people, when they receive that, they take a picture and they share that with their social media. And so all of their friends and referral partners and clients and everybody following them sees what I've done. And it comes back, just so much. So it's, everybody should find what works for them. But I think, spending a little bit of money going back, it comes a long way.
So I have a comment. We can't give out referrals we can't give out gifts for referrals.
I was talking about agents, agent.
Well, no, you can send a $25 gift card for somebody for a referral.
Mhm.
You just can't make it excessive and you can't make it a percentage of the commission. Okay, and the best way of doing it is not to wait until it closes, because the fact if they close or not is not dependent upon the referral. The referral is the referral, okay? So if you were getting in the practice of sending out a $5, $10, $25 Starbucks gift card or Amazon gift card every time somebody gives you a referral, do you think that you're going to program them, David, to subconsciously think about referring you more?
So it's not when they send or after they send, it's on the calendar to just hit the sphere or these referral people up from time to time and show that you care and that you're thinking about them. So it's just like how I touch base with my clients and how a lot of people lose touch and don't have reminders on their CRMs to touch base with their clients. Communication is what our business is all about. And so many people drop the ball on this 7 days a week. Like you're talking about actionable tasks. My number one thing to do is talk to my existing clients that I've worked with for 20 years, almost 20 years, because they're the ones that are going to feed me. And then they give your name to another agent, and that agent is now referring you. There's just so many things that are so simple, but we just don't do.
Client
I do
today,
something different. I do something different, Rob. I actually, after I close, I send a box of chocolate to the agent. He wrote me a contract for my listing. And that is,
So I've started every time I have a
All right, thanks
closing
for
with
sharing.
that's awesome. Every time I have a closing with an agent I enjoy doing a deal with, I'll stop by their office and I'll drop a bottle of champagne and like a box of Godiva or something. And the owners of these brokerages call me and say, we've never seen that. You're giving something to the listing agent you brought the buyer to, or vice versa. And it's just, you start building these relationships. You're going to do more business with these agents. It's a matter of time. So
absolutely.
spend a little bit of money, back into the business like this. It goes a long way.
And Rob, I also send home anniversary cards with small gifts to all of my customers every year, every month, and that has given me lots of repeat customers and referrals. I stay in touch with them that way as well.
So any referrals out to the Pittsburgh market? There's the Maritza.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're very, I know you didn't ask, but I just wanted to call that out.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Pittsburgh and Southeast Florida. She's
Yes.
a dual agent. And if you have any friends that want to be dual agents within the RE/MAX system, it's really pretty easy to do. Reach out to your manager or to if it's going down to Florida, Foz or myself. I wanted to maybe leave the last 6 minutes open for any questions or thoughts that anybody has that you want to share before we wrap it up.
So Rob, I just wanted to mention something, and earlier one of the team leaders talked about how much you've meant to their business, and with this being February and Valentine's month, and saying sweet things to people and everything, you made a comment during this session about how you were working with an agent, and last night you were working on specific things for him to say, and you sent it to him this morning. And I'd just like to point out that, I've been in the business for 18 years. I know a lot of other owners of brokerages, and not one of them would, I think, would do what you're doing, and with your hands-on approach to all of our business, and it's certainly a very much of a positive. So I just wanted to give you the shout out for that, and I have nothing to gain by saying that.
Well, Robert, I want to say thank you. I am grateful for everybody, and honestly, it's not a chore for me to do. I love it. When I have a challenge or an objection or something that's come up, okay, I enjoy trying to figure out ways to try to solve that, and then I'll often follow up to see how it worked out, and then that's topic and that's material that we share here with the entire group. So
Rob, I have a question for everyone.
ahead.
Just curious, I know what I do, but just curious, what is everyone else as far as how often do they reach out to, to their clients? Is it on a monthly, couple times a year, yearly? Just curious what everyone else does.
Every 3 months.
Every 3 months?
That's what I do.
For
Okay.
standard, for clients that you don't have that tight rapport, I do that every quarter. Yes. For clients you build a special relationship, at least once a month.
Some kind of contact once a month and then a call once a quarter.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, Mickey, we feel like we're bothering them. If we call them and we don't have a purpose. I really don't think that especially if it's people that we worked with in the past. And I reject the word past clients because that means that they're not your client anymore. Your sphere, and if you want to use your previous customers that are still your clients, they want to hear from you. Sometimes they're busy and they might, rush you off the phone because we all have, active lives and things that we're doing, but, don't abandon your clients. Okay. Don't ever feel uncomfortable reaching out to them because 98% of them really want to hear from you. Maybe they're busy at that time, but that doesn't mean that you're bothering them. Okay. I hope that helps a little bit with that call reluctance.
Rob, can I say something? This is Jackie Gottheim, Motto Mortgage. How are you?
Sure. I'm
I don't
doing.
know if you could see me. Two things. As a person who is passionate about what I do, I recognize the passion in you, and I think that's what the agents are seeing, that you are so passionate about what you do and helping people, and that I respect you for that. But I wanted to go back to recommendation. I have a book that I think that if you haven't read it, if everybody on the call has not, it's called Mr. Schmooze. Mr. Schmooze, The Art and Science of Selling Through Relationships. It is an easy, quick read. It is so fun to read, and it's on Amazon, and it's by Richard Abraham. And I just think you guys would enjoy reading it. Very quick, very small book, but very, very appropriate to what you're trying to do with your team and motivate them, etc.
Well, Jackie, I sense your passion as well, and I thank you for sharing that. If we start the day being grateful and we end the day being grateful, everything always works out.
Yes.
Okay. Gratitude over anger, gratitude over frustration, gratitude over disappointment, because there's always a lot of things that you could focus on that are great, and there are things that you can focus on that aren't so great. And everybody's going to have things that aren't so great that happen. And what defines us is how we deal with those challenges. Okay, we deal with those, disappointments. If you're doing 60 deals a year, you're helping 60 families with a real estate matter. Okay, there's going to be transactions that fall apart, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you have a system and that during the course of a year, 4 deals or 6 deals are going to fall apart regardless. Okay, it doesn't faze me if it happens today or if it happens on December 31st. Okay, I'm just doing what I know to do, and I know the outcomes there. I have blind faith that it's going to work. Okay, I talked about blind faith in the past, and I think that's so relevant. If you take the time to do those calls, and we talk to some people over time, it's probably $200 to $1,200 an hour we make while we're prospecting. Okay, most of the time you're prospecting, what you're making, Ron, most of the time when you're prospecting, you're making a really round number. What is that? 0.
Yeah.
Right? But then when you get that $2 million listing at 2.5% or 3%, ding ding ding, you just made $44,000 in an hour. But you have to work all the time, and you have to have blind faith that it's going to work.
Yeah, we go on for hours, sometimes not get anything for 2 or 3 days, and then you make the first 5 to 10 calls and you get a listing appointment. So it's a numbers game. It's a shot.
Yeah. Well, I am grateful for all of you, if you can't tell, and I want you to have a a productive weekend, and be grateful for the clients that you have and that you're gonna have, and have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
So.
Thanks,
Thank
Rob.
you, Rob.
Rob,
Thank you. Thank you.
Go San
Rob,
Bye,
Francisco.
guys.
Yes.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rob.
Rob,
Yes.
Rob.
I just want to call out a note here, not related to real estate, but for all of us who are going to be celebrating Valentine's Day this Wednesday, to remember that it's going to be the 6th anniversary of the shootings in Parkland, Florida here, of those 17 victims who lost their lives. It was a Wednesday. It was Ash Wednesday, which is this Wednesday coming up. Please remember them in your thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, thank you for that that somber reminder. And yes, definitely, the impact is still felt very heavily in the entire community of Parkland, Coral Springs. So thanks for sharing that, Dan.